Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L, and today we're going to have a quick talk about My Hero Academia! Specifically, we're going to talk about how a topic in the fandom evolved over time. We're talking about the notion, or in some cases, the fear that Bakugo was going to turn into a Sasuke type character. A guy who went from sorta good to sorta bad and confused. A fear that nowadays is more or less under control. I mean, you see the events of Season 3 and you wouldn't really feel that villainy is an option for Bakugo right now. But when Hero Academia first started, this was something that came up often enough because there was nothing to disprove it. So in this video, we're going to talk about why it happened, going to show some clips of 1 or 2 anime-tubers, and we're going to have a good time. So check this out. This is the Google Trends graph for the general search term Bakugo Sasuke. It extends from August 2016 to November 2018. With this graph, I just want to illustrate that the idea of the Bakugo and Sasuke comparison was fairly consistent, and there are some trends that pop up in the graph. But before we get to the trends themselves, I just want to point out, usually when it comes to the trends graph, the significant peaks correspond to some event in the anime or manga, like for instance the term Izuku x Todoroki spiked during the event of the anime's season 2 right at the sport festival fight. For this one though, not all spikes correspond to a significant moment, which is 1, pretty interesting, and 2, just gives you the idea that this was a comparison that people in general were interested in. Those other spikes might have been a result of movements within the fandom because of that. So trend wise, here's one cool thing. From the period of April 29th onward, spikes were much higher than before in general. So what happened on the week of April 29th, 2018? Well, on April 28th, we got episode 42 of the anime, which revealed that the villains were after none other than Bakugo. The spike happened this week because this was most likely the week that anime-only fans who were watching the anime realized the similarities to the Sasuke situation and wanted to talk about it. Previously, it was only manga fans that were talking about it, but now that the anime fans were in the mix, the search interest jumped, and it's pretty interesting to see that that search interest in comparing Bakugo to Sasuke maintained after all those episodes. Before moving on, I want to address this spike. I typed in Bakugo Sasuke 2017 December, and what I got was a Reddit post with a lot of upvotes talking about the comparison, and that was dated on December 27th. Did this one Redditor pique people's interest, or were they the product of something else? Honestly, I don't know. It was kind of hard to find out. But still, funny coincidence. Anyway, moving on, why was it that people were thinking that Bakugo was going to become like Sasuke in the first place? Well, on one side, Sasuke had effectively become an archetype, a framework for the jerk rival turned antagonistic rival due to frustration over the main character's growth. And then you had Bakugo, who for the early days was an extreme jerk rival and was seriously ticked off by the main character's growth. Sasuke was effectively a pattern people thought Bakugo would follow. Even seasoned anime fans would initially think that Bakugo was going to go down a villain route.
From what I've gathered thus far with the main character and his rival, I could definitely see where it's going right now. I could possibly see, since it's going into the comic book direction, I could see this potentially being like his greatest villain, his greatest adversary, you know, like his Magneto or something that he's gonna have to try to stop.
That impression itself was in turn caused by some really effective early arcs with Bakugo, specifically the first Izuku vs Bakugo fight. Let's face it, the impression you get from Bakugo from that arc is not a great one. And Bakugo right at the beginning of the story in chapter 1 was also nothing to write home about. Heck, even the author went on record to say he thought he went too hard with Bakugo's antagonism in that early time. Anyway, time goes on, a few other things happen, and we're at the season 3 events. And the villain's interest in Bakugo is revealed, but they haven't caught Bakugo yet. At this point, the situation in the fandom had changed a bit. There were now more people hoping and betting that Bakugo wasn't gonna go evil.
You know, I don't know what to feel about that latest chapter, that final panel of Boku no Hero Academia. But regardless of how it was done, I don't believe this is going to turn exactly out like a Sasuke situation.
But given people's comments at the time, it was clear there was a divide. People who were betting Bakugo was going to go evil like Sasuke, and people who were betting no, it's not happening. What was interesting is that at the time, signs pointed to Bakugo not going down the Sasuke route that easily. We had the simulation joint that showed Bakugo could be calm when Izuku wasn't around. We had the sports festival that showed Bakugo was capable of rational thinking and was capable of honoring an opponent more than others were. And we had the exams, which were Bakugo getting fleshed out when it came down to why he wants to be a hero. Bakugo at this point had developed a few more nuances that would disprove the villain's perception of him. And then finally, the denial to the villains happened.
You see now? You see what I said? You see what I said last week? You see what I said in the comments? Bakugo is not going to become a Sasuke character.
And fans rejoiced, and fears of Bakugo going down the evil route subsided to the point that people even recently questioned why others still think Bakugo is Sasuke. There's also a lot of work being put into saying why they aren't the same and celebrating their differences. Still, those initial moments with Bakugo left such an impression that the author's leveling off and dialing back of the character didn't really reach some people, and this seems to be a problem that the author has, as we saw a similar reaction happen this past year with Endeavor. The author's just too good at making jerks, at least for that initial couple of arcs in Hero Academia. Anyway, as you can tell, we're in the good times now, as that one Reddit post indicates. We're now in a period where people respect Bakugo's differences and don't see him as following a preset path, and that's great for both the character and the author. Bakugo is making his own waves. But it should be noted, if we were stuck with early Bakugo and he hadn't developed, those fears would not have been misplaced. It is still fun to see the similarities in the Bakugo and Sasuke situations. I mean, they were both, for instance, trapped by villains and surrounded by them. But you look below that surface and you realize at that point there was enough to differentiate the two. And coming out of this whole situation, one of the biggest takeaways is just really that question of why were people so insistent on Bakugo going down this route when there was nuance there. Anyway, that's the quick video talking about the fandom as they dealt with whether or not Bakugo would go into a hero route or a villain route. I hope this walk down memory lane was good for you, and guys, let me know what you thought. Where were you when Hero Academia was going? Did you ever think Bakugo was going to be Sasuke? Or did you have faith that Bakugo was going to be something different? Let me know down below. But anyway, that's all for me. Till next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.